These free AI tools will write a literature review for you from scratch. But can you actually trust the references? I tested these three very popular tools to check whether they hallucinate or they can actually deliver. And there is one clear winner. I tested Perplexity AI, Google Gemini, and DeepSeek with the exact same prompt, asking for a 5,000 word long review on a topic that I am an expert in. I asked for in-text citations, for bibliography, and I wanted all of my references to be primary and up-to-date. This is not a sponsored video. Everything is based on my own research, my own personal testing. The very first tool we have here is Perplexity AI. Feel free to pause the video and read the prompt. But if you want to use it, just make sure that you have the deep research selected here. I am using a free plan, and on a free plan, you can only have deep research twice a day, right? You can only use this mode. Now, don't even try doing it without it, because otherwise Perplexity will hallucinate like no one's business. But it did create a nice literature review for me here, and then I put it in Word, and essentially it is 3,000 words long, which is a little bit too short. I asked for 5,000 words, and it gave me 33 references, which means one reference per 90 words. Again, a little bit short. I would really like to see maybe one reference per 50 words. But out of these 33 references, 12 references were absolutely correct. Then another 20 had the correct title in it, which basically means it was really easy for me to Google these papers and actually check their authenticity. And then there's only one reference that did not exist. So 32 out of 33 references were usable, but unfortunately 33 and 3,000 words is just a little bit low. The next tool I tested was Gemini by Google. So this is the literature review here, and again you can see in-text citations 2025, 2020, 2021. So it starts really nice. But then when we actually fully analyze it, what we end up with is that the word count was 4,616 words, which is really nice. It is plus minus 10% of the 5,000 words I asked for. This is acceptable. But look at the reference count. It only gave me 25 references, which is one per nearly 200 words. That is really not enough. And then out of all of these 25 references, one reference was fully correct, and then the other 24 had the correct title and correct link, which actually means all of the references were usable and it didn't hallucinate, which is really nice. But then again, it's only 25 references. So altogether, this literature review is not that usable because it is not supported by enough references. However, if you don't want to repeat this as well, just make sure that you have this deep research selected here. I tried without the deep research, and every single paper created by Gemini was fake. Every reference was fake. And the last tool is DeepSeek, and it blew my mind away. So first of all, you can see some references, 2015, 2020, but let's have a look at my final count. So the word count was 5,495 words, which is perfect because it maxed out this, 10% plus minus 10%, and I really like that it did that. And then it gave me 68 references, which is one reference per 80 words, which is much better than the competitors, right? I would still like few more references so that it comes down to 1 in 50, but that's better than Google Gemini and better than Perplexity. But what really blew my mind that out of these 68 references, 67 were usable. So 50 references were correct, and then 17 of them had the correct title so that I could easily find them online. There was no problem. And then there was one reference that did not exist, but DeepSeek did flag this to me that this is a preprint and that I should double check this reference, which was really useful. So all in all, DeepSeek predicted that this reference might be dodgy and all the other references were just fine. So this is the scorecard. Let's start with Perplexity AI. It didn't hit the word count of 5,000 words. The references were a bit too short. One of them was fake. On a free tier, you have a limited deep search functionality. I think it's only 2 times a day, but the essay itself, the literature review read well, right? It made sense. Then we had Gemini. It did hit the word count, but it was even short on references than Perplexity AI. And again, it's limited as well on free tier. And then the last one was DeepSeek. It hit the word count. The references number was much better than with Perplexity AI or Gemini. One reference was fake, but it was flagged by DeepSeek. And then on the free tier, you have that unlimited deep search function that you can select and you can keep using and using as many times as you want. And again, the essay did read very well as well. The caveat of what I did here is that I didn't look for the second tier hallucinations, where you have a reference that exists, but it doesn't actually support the claim made in the literature review. So when you create a literature review yourself using DeepSeek, then you will also have to double check them whether they actually support the claims you have in the review. And of course, this is just a single case study, and everything here might be just topic dependent, so you need to do your own research as well. For now, DeepSeek is your best bet, but make sure that you keep your critical hat on. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about AI tools that will help you find new research papers even before they are indexed in Google Scholar. And I will also help you distinguish between which ones are credible and which ones are pure garbage. Thank you for watching. Let the AI work for you and not the other way around. And I'll see you in the next one.